Sussex must be punished. William insults King Charles for Harry's actions. New reports suggest that King Charles and Prince William are increasingly at loggerheads over privacy. Hello and welcome to the Princess Diana News YouTube channel. The truth is that throughout history there have been many examples of the Windsor patriarchs not having a good relationship with their eldest son. For example, Edward VII was so interested in frequenting his favorite Paris brothels that he did not have much time to raise the boy who would become the stern George V. So he continued to follow his son David, aka Edward VIII, while calling his son Bertie, aka George VI, the ugly duckling. Where is Prince Philip? Well, he would think his son King Charles is a bit of a wimp. He tried to remedy this by sending him to a Scottish boarding school, called Colditz and Kilts School by His Majesty the King. But recently, it did appear that Charles and his son, Prince William, had somehow miraculously managed to buck this trend. For evidence to support this claim, we only need to look at the Cambridge's social media accounts on Father's Day back in 2020. On that day, the Cambridge's social media accounts all published a photo that was taken by Catherine. And in this photo, you can see William with his arm around his father, demonstrating a level of royal affection that's typically reserved for dogs. We got to see two future kings hug together and there was so much warmth and tenderness Queen Victoria had to have been turning over in her grave, but now that father-son relationship might be under threat. There are many reports suggesting that King Charles and Prince William don't see eye to eye when it comes to what's going on with Harry and Meghan Markle. To better understand the whole situation, we need to go back to the picture of Father's Day. At the time, Meghan and Harry just angrily fled to sunny California, leaving the royal family behind. According to reports, a very interesting side effect of Megxit was actually that Charles and William became much closer. You see, things have not been good between these two men for a long time, maybe even decades. The two men were said to be arguing behind closed doors. Sometimes William inherited certain abilities from his father. But in January 2020, when Harry and Meghan announced their resignation via an Instagram post and caused much confusion, a real renaissance was reported between William and Charles. In 2021, a friend told Royal Times editor Roy Anika that years of institutions, money, jobs, competition had created tensions. Diana, part of William's evolution is that as he gets closer to his father, he sees similarities between them as their destinies get closer. This places a heavier burden on them and strengthens the bond. Their breakup with Harry also brought them closer over the years. Charles and William's alliance only seems to be getting stronger. Then, of course, Harry's book Backup came out, a 400-page book that was an interesting mix of deeply touching heartbreak, minor plot points and a long, boring paragraph about the military in the middle. It depicts the royal family in a very unflattering light, and overall there's something postmodern Cromwellian about this issue. This brings us to today. The king and his eldest son currently appear to be at odds over how to proceed. The Daily Mail and Vanity Fair reported that Charles wants his youngest son to spend the big day at Westminster Abbey and is considering seeking help from the Archbishop of Canterbury. A source close to the king told Vanity Fair's Katie Nicholl that he will invite the Sussexes because it is the right thing to do and will hopefully pave the way for peace. But William was not enthusiastic about the idea. He didn't want to forgive Harry like his father had. Well, the king is a friend of the Dalai Lama, so maybe it makes sense to take that into account. His brother paints William as a big-tempered bully who is willing to use his fists and who doesn't care about Harry's emotional attachment to his beard. Let's ignore the fact that Harry inadvertently revealed at some point that Willie was actually a very loving and kind brother. Harry said that one day, during an argument, his brother grabbed him by the shirt and said, "Listen to me, Harold, the ear I love you, Harold. I want you to be happy." And things are very cold between the two brothers right now. In Vanity Fair, sources close to the Prince of Wales say that there is no more trust between her and Harry, and another friend of William's has told The Times that inside he's burning, and that he's not just going to roll over. And making the situation even more complicated is the fact that William is supposedly worried that Meghan and Harry may try to stage some kind of stunt. The Mail is reporting that William fears that unless Harry's visit is tightly scripted, he could steal the limelight by, for example, going on a walkabout in a deprived London borough with Meghan. And I guess this is where the two men are differing. So Charles reportedly wants Meghan and Harry back in the UK for his coronation, but William doesn't think it's a great idea to allow them anywhere near the SWI postcode, much less Westminster Abbey. What matters here is not only what decision they all make about the coronation, but that any growing division between Charles and William will be disastrous. The last thing the royal family needs right now is another feud between family members. They had enough of this. Since Megxit, the royal family has become very good at showing public unity among themselves. From the huge Windsor horde that turns up for Catherine's annual Christmas concert at the Abbey, to everyone else's retweets and charitable support, they are definitely there for each other and make a great show. Currently, the royal family's approval rating is unstable. So what they really need is for them to win on the board and for people to focus on their good work instead of HRHs being busy talking about each other. On Thursday, for example, it was reported that Charles had opened the doors of two of his Scottish properties, Mayo Castle and Dumfries II, and his own Highgrove estate as a hot space. So, warm spaces are places where people, locals, go when they're struggling with a cost of living crisis and just need a nice, safe, warm place to go. So the idea that Charles and William are falling out is bad, and apart from the practice, if we see that they actually have problems, it will further weaken the position of the monarchy that it already has. The king should be a unifying national figure that everyone can get behind. He doesn't have to be the Kris Jenner of the nobility. So, according to Valentine Lowe, author of The Courtiers, it seems that the center is held within the royal family, and the two men are trying to project an image of harmony. He recently told royal reporter Patricia Treble, for now, all is well between the king and his heir. Perhaps especially because they face a common problem. Of course, this FAQ is Harry. But as Valentine Lowe warns, this won't last forever. Do you hear ominous background music? I know I sure do. And what about you? What do you think about the relationship between William and Charles? Please let me know your opinion below in the comments section, and we can also discuss the royal family together. If you think my video is helpful, don't be afraid to like and share it with your friends and relatives who would enjoy it anytime you want. Click the subscribe button below for more news from the Princess Diana press team. Now, thank you very much for your attention. Have a great weekend and I'll see you back in a future video.